So this is the iPhone 17 and it's being called the best iPhone value in years. Let's go ahead and unbox it and give you my first impressions, and we'll talk a bit about if this truly is one of the best values in years. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. I picked up the 256 gig in Sage. Now 256 gig is the base, which is automatically with the same $799 price, making this phone definitely one of the best iPhone values in years. You'll see the colors on the side of the iPhone writing and the Apple logos always kind of match the color choice that you get. You can also feel a little texture on the box right here of the phone. They don't really list specs or anything like that, just UPC code so they can scan you out at the store. Let's go ahead and pull that off, and then we'll pull off the second one. And no more harder to open boxes these days. It's so easy to unbox these things. So let's just get right into the phone. And you could see the sage color definitely matching basically what you see there. It does have definitely, to me, a very different look compared to some of the greens of before. So I'm pretty happy with my color choice here. I didn't want to get the blue mist because, you know, I see blue phones so much. I'm just kind of like, I didn't want to get the blue mist, although some people did want to see that one. If we go over here, you'll see we do have the action button. We do have ourselves the volume rockers. And if we go to the bottom here, you're going to see USB-C. And we do have the speaker grill, microphone holes, Torx screws lined up nicely. If we go over here to the side, you'll see the camera control button. We'll also find ourselves that power button, and you'll see that iPhone 16 looking camera array. Now up at the top, you will find yourself one antenna line, and then one there, and then you'll see one there, as well as there and there. Overall, I think this phone actually looks cleaner than even the 17 Pro series, just because it doesn't have that, you know, 5G line. It's not like dual design. It's Apple logos right in the center. So this is definitely one of the cleanest looks of all of the iPhone lineup this year. Although I do have to say, it does look strikingly similar to last year's iPhone 16. So not too much different, but it's slightly bigger with a 6.3 inch, which is matching the iPhone 16 Pro in the size. Let's go ahead and pull off the plastic and see how this sounds. This is only once every time you get your iPhone. Yeah, not too much noise there on that. Let's go ahead and boot this up, and we'll showcase what comes in the box of these base iPhones. So over here, you're gonna see just a USB-C cable right here. So that's just about what you're gonna get. USB-C to USB-C. It is braided, so it is nice that it's not like one of those older cables that were just the regular material that got all dirty. This would probably get dirty as well, but it is braided. If we go over here, you'll see iPhone warranty guides, and that's about it. So the phone is basically designed to be in the slimmest box possible to get the most iPhones on a shipping container. For you, that means a very slim and lightweight box, but not too much value on the inside. You have to buy your charger separately, headphones separately. So if you are first time coming to the Apple ecosystem, you are going to have to invest in a couple other items to get the full Apple experience. All right, guys, so we're now in the phone, and I didn't set this up officially with my Apple ID yet because I want to see how much storage iOS takes. Just from the phone itself, you can see about 29 gigabytes, near 30. So you actually have about 226 gigabytes to play around with this phone if you do pick up the base model. But let me tell you right off the bat, 120 hertz ProMotion on the base iPhone is glorious. This phone finally feels like a true upgrade over the previous base models. And honestly, this is going to sound kind of crazy because, you know, I'm a tech reviewer. I usually cover the top of the line, but I've been using the 16 Pro as my main, and I might switch to this base model iPhone as my main because, number one, I like the color more. A silver is classic and beautiful, but this is just something unique. And also, having the 120 hertz is one of the reasons why I never could use a base personally. Also, this has got the same screen size and bezels similar to the iPhone 16 Pro while having a lighter weight design with longer battery life. This phone is an incredible deal. 8 gigabytes of RAM and has an Apple A19 chip. I think it's pretty awesome that even people who get now the base model are not really losing out too much over those who get a Pro. Of course, if you are going to be using 8K and all these 4K 120 and RAW modes and all these things like that, you'll want to go ahead and get an iPhone 17 Pro Max so you can put that thing on a tripod and start going to the pro town. But, you know, if you're not doing that, which I don't think everyone is, this is one steal of a deal and definitely the best upgrade over 13 users, 14 users, 12 users, 11 users. You guys are finally in for a real treat with this upgrade right here. First impressions are super light. And finally, that super light and beautiful design matches the liquid glass and smooth 120 hertz feel on the display here. This also does have a very bright display and a really nice front-facing camera that comes with the new camera design that you're going to see right here from iOS 26. But you do have the center stage camera, and Apple's done it again. They've given you the same camera on the front that they do for the pros. So you don't have to sacrifice your selfie quality in social media, content creation, or whatever you are planning to do, family photos, group photos, whatever, on the front with this one right here. Also, having those razor thin bezels now makes the iPhone 17, the regular model here, feel like you nearly just got $1,000 phone. It really is pretty impressive because, you know, you would pay $1,000 for an iPhone 10 back in 2017, and this phone is $799 and blows that phone away. Like, it's not even a contest. That phone was pretty cool for the time, but this thing is just absolutely demolishing iPhone 10, 10s, you know, even 10s Max. This is a great overall package here for what you're getting. It just shows that as technology advances, you can bring down the prices and still give the customers a great value. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. Actually, I think I might be a little bit more excited for this one than the Pro Max in terms of just the overall value proposition here. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the wallpapers and see what kind of wallpapers we get for this phone right here. So let me get out of general. We'll go here. And with all iOS 26 phones, you will be getting the iOS 26 setups here. So you can go dynamic, shadow, sky, halo, and dusk. And they will change depending on if you're in dark mode or not. If we scroll down here, you'll also see the collection is also there. But this is the main wallpaper setup you're going to get for the iPhone 17. Of course, you're going to want to go ahead and place the one that matches the color of your phone if you want it to look in sync. So this is the sage. There's the mist blue. There's the white and black. So the white and black could actually work well with this one as well. But I'm going to leave it on sage there so it matches the device that I had purchased here. And overall, I think this phone with its smooth promotion, smooth body, and overall the like liquid glass, this is just a smooth package here overall for you. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the cameras. So you can see we have the dual fusion setup here. Now, if we actually go into the camera itself and we go ahead and punch in 2x, you're going to find yourself not the most zoom. That is one of the only things that's a con with this phone. However, when you do zoom in, it does get a little bit more clear than before. So the zoom length on the iPhone 17 is pretty clear. You also do have yourself an ultra wide camera on board, which is pretty neat there. If we go over here to video, you can record some pretty high resolution 4K video on here, but you're not going to get the highest qualities like you'll find on things like the iPhone 17 Pro Max and the iPhone 17 Pro. However, you do get yourself, I think, what is kind of similar to some of the older Pro models in terms of, you know, overall camera quality with some of the newer image processing. So even for the base model, you can get some Pro-based stuff work done on this iPhone, but don't expect to have the most zoom. Other than that, though, having center stage on the front really does give this a unique advantage over something like an older 16 or 16 Pro. So if you were looking for getting a used iPhone and you're kind of in the same price range, you might want to just go with the 17 because this phone is offering up a better front-facing setup for sure. Now the actual camera design again looks very much the same as the iPhone 16. You can see it's pretty dark green in the glass, and this is one thing I think Apple does better than the competitors. The camera design always looks, I think, nicer a lot of the times, especially when you look at the camera rings, the attention to detail, how they frosted that in a darker green. The cameras on the iPhones tend to stand out a bit to me. So I think I covered the main things I wanted to talk about here about this phone. My overall take is just, it's great value. Super smooth display, lightweight body, 6.3 ultra thin bezels. This feels like a phone that you would have been charged like maybe $899 or $1,000 a few years back. So you're getting a really solid offering. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this compares to some way older iPhones for those of you finally deciding to do an upgrade. If you notice, the iPhone 11 does have that vertical camera array, but it has a very wide and bulky look to it. This is a huge upgrade. This thing feels way smoother to hold, way more balanced in the weight. It's a much better feeling phone in terms of ergonomics for your day-to-day usage. It's not just because it's newer, it actually feels better. This feels like an old heavy brick by comparison. Now, the iPhone 12 was a pretty sleek and lightweight phone at the time, and this one still feels pretty good. The iPhone 12, it feels slightly more sharp in the corners though, slightly shorter, so maybe a little bit harder to one hand the iPhone 17, but you do get a little bit of a bigger screen, and you do get yourself, the action button over the silent switch. No SIM card slot no more, but the overall look and feel of these two, this one just feels a little wider and just a little bit more rough to hold. That's the best way I could describe it. This thing feels smooth. This just feels smooth. Everything about the 17 just feels smooth. Now going on to the 13, one that everybody's really loved, and probably one that's going to be traded in a lot and upgraded this year at Apple stores, the iPhone 13. This phone right here is also a great upgrade. If you kind of look at these two, the 13 and the 17, kind of similar in width, but again, with the 13 having the aluminum rails, the way it feels in the corners is just a little sharper. It points in the corner a little harder. This is smoother. It just feels nicer in the palm, especially like down here. And overall, it has a more rounded feel with a bigger screen, better cameras, better battery life, much nicer dynamic island setup over the notch. So 13, while an iconic, I think legendary phone for the baseline, this is a much better device, and I would consider doing the upgrade. That would also apply for the iPhone 14 when I was talking about the iPhone 13 right there. And a couple more phones. How about the 16 of last year? You're going to see basically the same. This is also pretty similar to the iPhone 15. Just the camera design changed, but a little bit taller it looks like on the 16. But overall, these are about the same. I wouldn't upgrade the 16 unless you really want the 120 hertz, which a lot of people do. But if that doesn't matter to you, they're pretty close. You'll want to want the 120 hertz in the center stage camera. Let's go ahead and compare it to the 16 Pro now. Pretty much similar phone here to this one. Better battery life though. It doesn't have as much zoom. This one's a little bit heftier though, so this feels better to hold day to day in terms of the hand size. But really it comes down to the zoom between these two. These are pretty close competitors. I would say Apple's older 16 Pro and the iPhone 17. So yeah, that's how that looks. And how about one Samsung? We'll go ahead and take a look at the Galaxy S25, probably its closest Android competitor, and they're about the same in size, although the Samsung does have pretty sharper corners, I would say, than the iPhone 17. I would actually say the 17 feels better in the hand as well than the Galaxy S25, but the S25 feels like just a smaller, a little bit more compact. So if you want something a little bit larger, 17 it is, the S25 definitely feels noticeably more compact than this phone right here, but it's going to have probably worse battery life overall. So wrapping it up here, pretty bright display, excellent battery life on this phone. It's going to have really solid performance with the A19 chipset. Stay tuned. We'll be doing some speed tests should you upgrade videos against some of the phones I showed you in this video, and kind of talk about if this is one of the best deals of the year as we go forward and continue our coverage on the iPhone 17. So let me know your thoughts, what you want to see on the 17 down below in the comments section. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.